You are listening to the Mobile, Alabama Business Podcast with Marcus Netto, created by Bluefish.
Easiest way to introduce myself, I'm Brooks Conkle, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Very good.
Short answer.
You could not have picked a better way, actually. So, welcome to the podcast, Brooks.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No, so one of the things that we do beforehand is, I kind of give people some coaching on how to introduce themselves because this is an aside, right? But we're going to include this in the podcast. Years ago, I listened to this podcast, and I don't remember if it was NPR or whatever, but it just kind of stuck in my head where somebody introduces themselves like, my name is Marcus Netto, and I am Bluefish. And then there's like some quiet music that plays, and then it fades in, and the person is asking them questions about, welcome to the podcast, Brooks.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? It's like,
yeah.
So I just always had this, like, this is just being done in our conference room here on, 920 Dolphin Street. But I'd like to think that it's, NPR quality stuff and that we're
Look out NPR.
People. I know.
Look out NPR.
Bluefish,
I like it, man. I love it.
Bluefish is coming. So, but entrepreneur is a perfect way of, I guess that's where I was going is you have so many things going on that entrepreneur is really the best way to describe you.
I've honestly struggled to answer that question. My dad asked me recently, he's like, hey, so if someone asked me, my own dad, was like, hey man, if someone asked me what you do, and he already knows the things I'm working on and what I'm doing, but he never knows exactly at the time, kind of what I'm working on.
So for those that are listening that don't know you, list out the things that you have that are businesses that you work on.
Sure. And it was more in the past. So what's happened is over the last couple of years, I've kind of really honed in a little bit more on what I'm doing. I could almost say content creator, as instead of entrepreneur. That's like the bulk of my time. It's probably like 70% of my time, but it just has a weird, I don't know, coming off my tongue, man, it just sounds weird.
Right.
Content creator, people don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean?
In Mobile, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I've been involved in the event space, as a part of we run a local media company called the Mobile Rundown. The brand has been around a long time. It's been around almost 12 years. We talked about we're having a silent disco headphone party is like a fun event to do in relation to it. But so that brand's been around for about 12 years, but what does that brand encompass? It encompasses it's everything. It's like website development. It's like SEO and content creation. This year, we're going huge into YouTube, is my plan, video.
Yeah.
And so all of that encompasses that, but then I do that same stuff for my personal brand.
Right.
The exact same stuff. Writing, SEO, video, and that's kind of what I've honed into, and that's where about 70% of my time is, or 80%. The other 20% is probably real estate. I have a real estate broker's license, and I'm always looking for a deal.
Yeah.
And
because you guys, were you doing some flips at one point in time too?
I've done a number of flips, probably a dozen, man, flips. We had
some Airbnb
3
stuff.
Airbnbs. Yeah, we've got one now. We have some rentals. We just finished renovate. You know about building a house. We just finished a year-long part build, part renovation. Just moved in. Yeah, 4 months ago. It's been it's a year process, man. Just moved in. Even though that was for personal, I'm like, man, that's it's a part-time job, as you know. And so that, anyways, I kind of put that in the time block of all that.
Yeah, for the last month or more of the build of our home, I was on site every day.
There's so many questions.
Yeah.
So
it's simple things like at one point. I remember I give the example of one day they were pouring the concrete for the back patio, and they were trying to frame up the step for they were framing up the step out of the back of the master bedroom, and the step that they were framing up was suitable. It would have passed code, but it was not what I would have wanted for that area. It was just right in front of the opening. It was very small. I wanted something that spanned, the sliding glass door that was much bigger and, made a statement.
Makes sense.
And stuff like that. It was just, a small detail, but it made a huge difference. And every day there was stuff like that all day long.
Yep. If you're able, it's either a project manager, I guess, that was hired, but who
But they don't know your taste. They don't know what you want.
Exactly. And unless it's perfect in some plans or something, then that becomes difficult. Yeah. And if you don't have the ability to be there, you basically you get what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get
from a builder. That's what would happen. So it's good to be able to give that feedback on a daily basis. Totally agree, man.
Well, so the way we normally start is get a little bit of, bio from you. So why don't you tell us about yourself? Where are you from? Where'd you go to high school? Did you go to college? If you did you graduate? What'd you major in? Are you married? I know the answer to some of these
Sure.
questions, but yeah, give us some
Yeah,
info.
I'll throw it in there, man. I'm from this town, from Mobile, Alabama. Quick thing. I've been told even I say it incorrectly.
Okay.
I say Mobile. You said Mobile. I'm like,
Mobile.
I don't know if anyone says Mobile. A few people
Mobile?
do, but I'm
That
just like,
sounds awkward.
I'm Mobile, like $100
Mobile.
bill.
Yeah.
And I've been told I say it incorrectly.
Well, you're from Mobile, so
Yeah, I feel good. I feel
Yeah,
good about it. So from Mobile, I went to Murphy High School
okay.
here locally. I went to Auburn University. I graduated 2006. I disappeared for a year and a half.
What did you major in?
Finance.
Okay.
Business.
And
finance.
quite a quick aside, did you go to school with Andy? Were you guys, because you were about the same age, and he went to Murphy? Have you guys even ever talked about that?
I don't know if we've talked about that or not. I
Because
need
we
to
just
talk.
finished his interview, and he's like, "Oh, I went to Murphy High School," and I know you guys. He's 31. I don't know how old. How old are
Oh
you?
no, I'm turning 40.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
he's
So he was behind
significantly
me.
younger.
We
Yeah.
have talked. We have talked about that.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
at some point. Yeah, you
But
just I was like,
anyway.
man, was he there? Was he there when I was there?
That would be funny.
I have a buddy in town who went to Auburn with me, majored in finance with me.
Okay.
We discovered that we had a class together.
And
we
never knew each other.
Never knew each other. Met in Mobile, and we're like really good friends now.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens.
Totally.
So you went to Auburn, majored in finance.
Auburn finance. Right after graduation, almost took a job. Got offered a job with like a financial services company. I was like, this does not feel right. Something doesn't feel right. My mom was like, dude, go travel. You're talking about traveling.
Yeah, go do it.
She's like, go do it. I was like, all right. And so I said I was either going to do just big like U.S. road trip, or I was going to go to New Zealand. I had a friend that went to Auburn with me, and she married a Kiwi, married a New Zealand guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know some people there.
Yeah.
So I went to New Zealand, and
Very cool.
I didn't have, the thing is I didn't have plans, man. I was like, well, I'm going to go to them, and I'm going to figure it out and kind of play around for a while. And like, okay, I stayed for a year and a half. It was crazy. It's one of the coolest experiences ever, man.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I came back.
It's not that big of an island.
It's a tiny island, man. It's a tiny island. So I can give you the 60-second story on that
go
if you
ahead,
want.
man.
So
we got time.
all right. So I landed. I did this thing called woofing. It was called Willing Workers on Organic Farms. It's kind of cool. You got this little
Workers
book
on organic farms.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
woofing.
crazy acronym like woof. And so you basically, you look up people and you say, hey, I'm going to come to this area. Like, can I stay with you and I'll do some work or whatever? They're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So they would have little, whatever, homesteads and farms and stuff. And so I did that. I met a dude. Where's he from? The Netherlands? Anyways, me and him kind of traveled in cahoots together. Well, after, I don't know, maybe it was 3 months or something, I landed in Queenstown, New Zealand, which is on the South Island. And I was like, this place is amazing. And I was also out of money. I was like running out of money, like spent all my cash.
Yeah.
I remember calling my parents and I was like, hey guys, I was like, I'm either gonna find a job in the next like week or I'm gonna book my flight home. I was like, I don't have much money. And so anyways, I got a job there locally. And so I hung out there for the winter. It was amazing. Learned how to ski. I'd never been skiing before. So like there was a few ski mountains around. So, I got to ski a bunch. Then made friends with locals and people all around the world. Like my flatmates were from all over the place. Ireland, Canada, Scotland, man, and it kind of rotated in and out. I got talked into staying for the summer. They're like, man, if you like it here, you got to see the summer. It's beautiful. So I stayed for the summer. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. And then after the summer, my local friends were like, dude, ski season's coming back. I was like, no, man, like this has been awesome, but I gotta go. It's time for me to go home. So I came home, like by the way of like Australia. I've never been to Australia, so I got to go visit Australia for a few weeks and on the way home, and then came back. So I was like 18 months, and then I pretty much been here since, man. Yeah.
No, that's super cool. I actually, quick aside, and then we can get back to your bio. When I lived in Virginia, in the neighborhood right down the street, the project manager at AOL, this is like 20 years ago, the project manager at AOL for the Mac product that you would like stick the disk in and like install AOL, he lived in the neighborhood and he was probably in his 30s and he was just like, he had sold his stock and just like exited. He was like, I'm done. He had like this, like the old school Hummers that he had like completely had decked out and everything. And he moved his family to New Zealand.
Interesting.
And so I guess at the time you had to like pay a certain amount of money in order to be, to reside there. And, like there were some stipulations, like he had income and, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so he was able to like not just visit, but like literally move there. And he ended up shipping the Hummer and like a bunch of his other, I remember because the Hummer was just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just always, New Zealand's always been one of those places where when you see pictures of it, it is so beautiful that it's like bucket list, like you'd love to go there, but at the same time, it's all the way on the other side of the world.
To get there is insane. It's like 23 hours of flying or something.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Biggest flight I've ever been on. Yeah, if you're gonna go, like, you got to go stay for a while. You don't want to go.
You're not going there for a weekend.
Yeah, you're not doing even a week. I wouldn't even do a week there.
Yeah, you got to go for like a month.
You got to go, man.
And while you're there, you're going to stop in Australia. You're going to probably stop in one of the Asian influenced Thailand or something like that. And then
I never have. So many people I met, all my friends, it's like the circuit over there.
Yeah.
But I did go to like Fiji. Went there for a bit. It was like as a vacation from my job in New Zealand. I took a trip, like a week trip to, it sounds goofy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I went over to Fiji from New Zealand, but like it was a break. I took a break and we went on a trip.
Yeah, that's cool.
Over to Fiji, and that was really cool.
But
experience.
Isn't that the benefit of going to those kinds of places? Is that they're so easy to hop,
Once you get there.
Yeah, it's easy to jump.
It's pretty easy to get to Australia. It's like us. It'd be like you doing a US flight.
Do I want to go to Florida? Do I want to go to Texas?
Exactly.
Like, no big deal.
Exactly. So, that's what it's like once you're over there.
Well, some more of the backstory, because you haven't gotten to it all yet.
Murphy, college, left, came back. I am married. We just, my wife Mandy and I, we just had our 10th anniversary.
Nice.
Recently.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. She's been kind enough to deal with me
I was gonna say,
for all these years.
Yeah.
I think around year 7, she was like, we're like, oh, cool. Like marriages their relationship, like these things take work, man.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't just naturally happen. Like if you want this thing to be good and have longevity, like, oh, you have to work at this thing. And that's like anything, I think, in life. But I don't know at what point. It's probably around year 7, we're like, oh, okay, it doesn't just flow. It's not going to flow for 50 years.
It's amazing to me how much boils down to communication.
Yep.
And just making sure that the right words are chosen at the right time and with the right tone and intent and stuff like that. I mean, even just like slowing yourself down a little bit. As guys, sometimes we just like rattle stuff off.
Yep.
And when I went through premarital counseling back in the Stone Ages, they always described it as the man is the transmitter and the woman is the receiver, right? And so that's not true. In Communication 101, you learn that it takes transmitters and receivers, it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
But I think what he was trying to say is that the guy oftentimes is just spewing stuff out into the world, and the woman is the one that is receiving a lot of what, in the sense of she's more in tune with what people feel or what, she's more empathetic, stuff like that. And so it's important for us to kind of slow down and like remember that, and like kind of speak to that instead of just kind of like ramrod kind of rolling over it.
I mess up on that all the time. And it's not even I
do too.
It's not even things that I say. It's like sometimes it's how I say things, right? It's not that I'm like have a mean heart or mean spirited, but it's like, oh, like exactly what you're talking about. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
So.
I think all guys, deal with that, same thing, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
But I love her dearly, and I'm thankful that she loves me back, man.
Glad you added that.
I'm very grateful. Yeah. I mean, she knows I love her.
We'll
and
edit that and put that at the end of the other paragraph, so it seems like one continuous thought. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. So we've known each other for a long time, and I'm really glad that we're getting a chance to sit down because I don't know, I mean, like you're very active in the business community here. I mean, I think, you're well known and respected in the community. I mean, and I just think it's one of those things where we've just not had a chance. So I'm excited about this. But tell us about your first job, and were there any lessons that you remember from it? What was your first job?
Might have been at Bay Bears Stadium.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
That's a
Let's
good
see
story.
it.
Let's go there.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
go with
Sam.
that.
I'm going with Bay Bears. Bay Bears.
So what did you do
I've
there?
been like 15.
Yeah.
I did a few things. I think I helped usher a little bit, and then I also helped at that giant. They had like giant jumpy slides and stuff out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Had to have a ticket for that thing, man.
Yeah.
And you
Were
couldn't.
you the bouncer?
And you couldn't do
Cool,
crazy.
kid.
No flips, man. No
Yeah,
flips.
no flips.
I think I remember saying stuff like that all the time. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was me, man.
So what lessons do you think you remember that, because those jobs are workforce development, right? It's it's taking a 14 or 15-year-old snot-nosed kid, and I was that guy too, and like teaching them like, hey, you got to show up on time. You got to call when you're not going to show up. You got to treat the customers with respect and all that stuff. Like, what were some lessons that you learned from that?
I feel like I had those pretty well. Yeah, I didn't mess up on that stuff. But yeah, 100%. You got to be on time. You got to do what you say you're gonna do. You got to be accountable. I think if I'm thinking back, I probably learned like, man, time goes by really slow on this dollar per hour, and I'm not getting paid all that much. I had these realizations at 15, and I was just like, man, I don't want to do this type of thing always.
Right.
Totally game to do it, totally cool, but yeah, I just knew that like the hourly job wasn't. I don't know. I had the feeling then that it wasn't completely for me.
Yeah.
At 15.
Well, and you've leaned heavily into the content creator, stuff, especially for your own.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have a vision right now of where you're heading? I mean, is it kind of that content creator side of things?
Yeah,
or-
like yes and no. I create like roadmaps and ideas and visions and stuff all the time for the direction I want it to go. I have this really simple, maybe it's dumb, but I'm just like, my goal is to continue building and moving up and to the right, and then discovering it's almost like the next paths almost reveal themselves. Like for me personally, like in my personal brand content, I'm talking a lot about whatever business and things and money making ideas and personal finance. I've sampled a lot of that to just get to where I am now with what I want to talk about. Now in 2024, I'm actually going to be talking mostly about the things that I'm doing to build our local media brand. So like I don't know why I just had the epiphany now, or maybe it was just like it's gotten to a place where that makes sense. But that's kind of my plan for this year, is to really on my personal brand talk about the mobile rundown and like what we're doing to grow it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have had that idea like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. You know what I mean? I don't think I even could have had that vision. So it's like
Business is
it's
like
like it's
that,
an
though,
ever
right?
evolving. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it's like an ever evolving. Like you have a direction you're heading, and like not to get like philosophical, but like what does that even mean? Like this like point out there that
Yeah.
like you're like, I want to get there.
Yeah.
Well, like what is there? I was actually thinking about that 30-year-old guy
Okay.
that you mentioned that moved to New Zealand, and
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder how he did like a year later. Like what is he working on now? What is he doing?
Yeah,
Like did he
because-
get bored?
Because those of us that know that he probably in that vacuum, do you feel worth? At what level do you crave that excitement of building something that everybody in the world knew about?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I just don't know if he got bored. I think about personality types all the time,
Yeah.
like about people and like what he wants. Like I've thought about for me, I'm like, man, if I reach some level, some goal, like if I even achieve it, it's not even about achieving it. I really feel like it's about this
process
journey
of getting
thing.
there,
Yeah.
yeah.
But let's say I get there, I just don't know how long I'll be excited about it before
It's
being
just
like,
okay, what's next?
being like, cool, like what else should I work on?
Because that's not what your focus is. Your focus isn't the money. Your focus is the journey. Your focus is the learning that you get on going there and passing that on and helping other people.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, don't get me wrong, money's good.
Yeah.
Like you gotta make money to run your business and your life.
100%.
And everything.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah. I mean, it's like what's exciting, like what's adventurous, what's those are important variables to me when I'm
Right.
choosing things that I'm working on.
Yeah, it has to be exciting to you.
And I don't know if those are for everyone, for other people. I don't know if other people say, well, like, does this like is this super interesting to me, or
Give me an
is this
example.
kind of adventure? I don't even know if I have a tangible example. Just like,
Well, if you were to say last year, what was your focus last year then? 2023. If you were to kind of summarize your year, can you look back and say, like, okay, well, that was, like we accomplished, X. So in 2024, you're focusing on the media company, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I think it was similar in 2023. I think in 2023, I really, and I got crazy into SEO in 2023,
yeah,
like big time,
yeah,
like obsessed. Realized there's a whole, not only industry, but there's a
yeah,
whole like network and crew and people like talking about this stuff and helping each other and growing, web properties.
yeah.
That was, if I had to say, that was like a bulk of my focus in 2023. Like, loved it, and I love what's going on right now with like with AI and like what it means for search and what it means
Yeah.
for Google. I mean, not to get down that like crazy. I could talk for an hour just on that,
Well,
man.
not an hour.
Nah, 100%,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, no, I would actually, we've talked about, maybe that's the topic, because we were trying to figure something out to discuss, on your podcast, maybe that is the topic, because
Love it.
like we're definitely, using AI for our purposes, and I know that that's something, that, I'll give this example. Well, maybe I shouldn't, because I'll get him in trouble. I
Do
would,
it.
I would
No.
rather, no, well, I will. I will say that, and hopefully my ex doesn't listen to this. Uh, if she does, then maybe she'll understand. But my youngest son came to me and we were talking about his schooling. And he was having some trouble in his history class. And so we were talking about that because while I didn't do very well in school, like I have a very keen interest in history because I understand that, it's important for us to understand where we came from in order to understand where we're going and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I asked him just like, well, what period is it? And, he described it to me. I think it was like early American history or something like that. So it was like cowboys and Indians and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of get it. Like there wasn't like the period that they were studying, there wasn't a whole lot happening. It was kind of boring. And so it wasn't capturing his interest. It's not that he's stupid. He just wasn't interested in it,
Yeah.
And so he told me that he used AI to write, a paper. And instead of being upset with him like some parents, I told him that I would much rather him learn everything that he could about artificial intelligence than that period of history. And the reason why is because right now, with the understanding that probably you and I have about AI, we could walk out of this room and get a job making six figures tomorrow at some company easy.
Yeah.
And we're in the infancy. Like this thing has barely even just been born.
Yeah. I think the first, let's call it the first consumer product, being ChatGPT,
Yeah.
just over a year ago. Like,
It's insane to me.
hitting 100 million, it hit 100 million users like faster than any other product.
In what,
or
1 or
something.
2 months or something like that? It was
Just
crazy fast.
I don't even know how they did. I honestly don't even know how they did it. Like,
Yeah.
I've actually thought about that a few times. I'm like, how was it just that viral? Like, I guess
because
just
everybody
that
knew
viral.
just how powerful it was going to be.
I think every kid, you mentioned kids using it. I think every kid's going to have an AI tutor, and it's going to be
Geared towards them and
100%
know their
personalized. Talk
yeah.
about someone that kind of knows you, not someone, sorry, not to describe the
thing.
AI. Yeah,
Yeah.
a thing that knows you and can like help teach you
Yeah.
and instruct you in an interesting
How do
way
you
for
learn? What are you interested in?
Oh
How do
my
how
gosh,
do I
yeah.
game this kid so that he finds this interesting? Like, it's truly the future, a personal assistant in the most intense way.
Yeah, yeah. And do I think tons of stuff's gonna get disrupted? Of course. Like, I do, man. I think I think pretty much nothing is safe from this
I'd
technology,
agree
but
with that.
I'm at the same time, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I don't know, like, we'll figure it out. As
Brooks,
like,
it's been 1 year.
I know. I know. You're like, slow down, man.
Like is anything safe? I would agree with you that nothing is safe.
Yeah.
I just don't know that we have I don't think that I'm going to be
Yeah.
affected by it. But one of the things that I've had conversations with people that have kids is I have no idea the world that they're going to grow into.
Yeah.
How am I going to prepare? So Chrissy's kids are, and if I screw this up, please forgive me, Chrissy, 11 and 8.
Ballparks.
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly. Sorry.
How do you prepare somebody that's in middle school or elementary school for a future when artificial intelligence has changed so much in the last year? I don't know what they're going to need to do.
Yeah.
They may not need to do anything other than exist.
Yeah. Because we don't know. So we don't know those answers to be able to help out.
Yeah, we have no idea. Like in generations before, they always knew what kind of, like in general, what kind of world they were launching their children out into.
Yeah.
This is a time period where, like, for the next 5 years, it'll probably be about the same. But for somebody that's in middle school who's going to be graduating from high school in 6, 7 years, right? Like, I have no idea what world they're gonna be in. Like, how is AI gonna affect what jobs are available? Like, robotics has come to a place where I fully expect that in the next 5 years that we'll be, will we need servers at restaurants? Will we need people that wait on us and at cash out, at checkout, lines and stuff like that? I have no
Not
idea.
if some of the current companies do what they're planning on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like literally companies that exist right now with actual robots. Like if they work and grow and the price comes down, then no, it displaces tons, right? Tons of stuff. Knowledge workers and physical work. That's what I'm saying. It's like literally
It's scary.
nothing is safe. Yeah, it's like scary and exciting. I don't know.
Well,
I'm in a weird seat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was reading something the other day where the suit, I think it was an Alien, where they put it on and it was this big exoskeleton and it made them stronger and they were able to go and like fight the alien, right? They're actually manufacturing those now for warehouse employees, and they say that they've lowered the how if you go and get a physical job like that, they say, well, you have to be able to lift over 50 pounds or whatever, and there's a lot of disability claims and stuff like that because people get hurt and stuff. They're saying now with these exoskeletons that there will be none of those same issues.
I think I saw a video of one of those. Yeah, I was like, oh man, it's like Avatar, like come to life, basically. The video I saw, it kind of looked like.
It's insane where we're at, and I think things have progressed so quickly that it also kind of accelerates as it goes, right? And so I think it won't be long before we're dealing with all this mess. But so that was your first job.
Baby hairs, baby.
Baby hairs. Okay, so we did cover that. This is fun.
I'm throwing you on a loop today, man.
No,
Sorry.
I love it. These are the kind of podcasts that I love. All right. So what motivates you to work hard on your business?
What motivates me to work hard?
Because you're not terribly. I mean, money is important, but you're not extremely driven by that. So what makes you get up in the morning and actually put that in? Because nobody is standing over you saying that you have to do that.
I was just talking to my buddy about that yesterday, that he's in real estate with me. I was like, man, that's the interesting thing about working for yourself. Like, it's awesome because no one's there to tell you what to do. But I was like, the hard part is no one is there to tell you what to do. Like, and I have an infinite list. I feel like I'm a list guy. I'm always like notebook. I use Trello. I'm Google Docs, man. Just like there's infinite things to potentially do. And so for me, like figuring out like what's most important or what I should be working on is interesting and fun. I mean, like maybe that's a part of what I look forward to is like all this potential and stuff and like knowing like what I should work on. Yeah, I mean like money's interesting, growing something, just this general sense of like building something is interesting to me, like is a lot of fun. Learning new things. Like I know these answers are very general, but I feel like that's like it's like the camp I fall in.
The learning new things is resonating with me, and actually, and I wasn't going to interrupt you, but I'm here. I'm interrupting you. But I'm a list guy too. I mean, if I open reminders now, you find a laundry list of stuff that I'm supposed to do. And I was even having a conversation yesterday with Chrissy, and I feel like recently, because I'll go through a day like yesterday, and I will normally what I would have is just a shit ton of stuff on my to-do list. And then I'm going through the day and I'm generating more stuff that I'm having to do. So I never actually get to the things on my to-do list. And so one of the things that I'm trying out right now is, and I'm going to refer to this book a couple of times in the next couple of podcasts because it's just, something that I'm going through right now. But I'm listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger's latest book, which is the name of it is escaping me, but it's something like Do Good or something along those lines.
Okay.
And so I forgot where I was going with that.
Something about lists, maybe. I
Oh,
think related.
yeah. So I'm learning now that I was not doing a very good job of what you're talking about, which is discerning what is the most important things that I have to do that day.
Yeah.
So yesterday I had a couple of sales meetings. The most important things are getting back to those people. It's not, the tasks that, I had about creating a graphic about, how I want Bluefish to look in 5 years, or, you know, it's not any of those other things. And so what I'm having to do is I'm having to limit myself. I'm giving myself 3 things each day.
I have a 3-thing rule.
3-thing
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that comes back from the Getting Things Done, David Allen books, where he talks about, like putting a small amount, and that if it's something, you have to be able to discern whether something is, whether you can delegate something, whether it needs to be broken down more, almost like a Trello kind of thing. That's what's the project management term or the Scrum, where you have, and I'm going to get technical here for a second, okay?
All right.
In
This is my
Scrum
learning.
project management, they have epics.
Okay.
And epics is merely just a term of, well, if I want this computer system to do this thing, that thing is made up of all these other smaller things. So I can't say do this thing. I have to make the tasks these small. I have to break it down because the epic is too big. So I can't quantify how long it's going to take.
Can totally relate to like all of this. First, that example happens to me all the time when I find that there's something that's on my list, but really it's like a multi-step project.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this thing
like learn SEO?
Yeah. But like,
let's pull on that thread a little bit.
but sometimes it'll be like a week, and I'm like, I didn't get to that. And I'm like, oh, it's because I can't just sit down and do it. It's like, oh, there's 3 things that go under that, and then under that one, there's 3 things under that, and I need
things that you have to do you can even get to that.
Exactly. And so I'm like, oh, I need to get those down, and those are the 3 things that I need to do.
Yeah.
And I've come up with a bunch of different ways and things.
Well, and here's the thing that I was going to say then, is that what I found was I was getting really discouraged.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I was getting discouraged because I would have these things on my list, and because of the way that my day goes, I was never accomplishing anything. And what I found myself in, this was some thinking that I was doing over the Christmas break. What I found myself kind of like thinking about is like, I do these projects around the house. Like I built a bed for us. I've done these really cool shelving things where it's like molding that goes horizontally along the wall, and you can put, like, if this was it, you could fit a board between the two so it stays in there by pressure. And so like we've got these in the house now and stuff, but that has a start, and it has an end. And what I was missing in my life was I was missing starting points and ending points on my projects. And I was getting this really kind of overwhelmed feeling of like, there's so much to do. How am I going to get to it all? And that was a conversation, where Andy was kind of striking some chords with the mental health aspect of things, because I was just feeling so overwhelmed with it all. I wasn't able to do anything.
Got it. Like overload, complete overload, 100%. And shut down. Yeah.
And so
I've been there.
And so by dissecting that a little bit more, like what you're describing, and distilling it a little bit more, and coming to a better understanding of what the important things are, and I'm still learning, but this hasn't been a problem that I've had, forever. This is just a problem that exists now because I have an organization that's large enough that there's just so many things that need to be done. And as an entrepreneur, I'm having so many ideas, as I'm sure you are, that it's like, how do I get to them all? Hire 5 people and have them do it? No, I can't afford it.
I had the idea to start a series about my shower ideas, because like 80% of my ideas come from the shower. And I'm like, I also had that idea while in the shower. So,
like,
am I going to do that? I don't know, but like, I might actually. Might be part of my series. I don't know about you, but like I've done a lot of different things to like work through, organization and how I work or whatever. I've totally done that, and do that a good bit. If I have a really long list, even if I don't have the 3 things, I'll get overwhelmed. Just like it's a list, and I could go in order, I could do whatever, but I'll be like, okay,
I can ignore it.
What's the most important on here? I can what?
I can ignore it.
I can ignore it. Yeah. Which some of them you can. Like they're like, is this even actually that important? You can toss it or delegate it.
It's just that you do sometimes, right? That's the problem. That was the problem. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're good. But like I'll star. So I'll just say, okay, cool. Like, or this is all psychological, where I'll just be like, before lunch, okay, 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Okay. I'll set my 20-minute timer, 25-minute timer.
Yeah.
I'll do that and say, cool, focus, take a break. I do all of these things, and not in some like ritualistic, like I always do it the
Yeah.
same way. I'm always changing, man, like
Yeah.
how I do these things. I'm always curious about other people too, like if they just find one set way that always works. I feel like I'm always adapting.
Do you think that this
these
kind
things.
of lends itself, because I think we probably listen to a lot of the same, people as well, that, like this biohacker mentality of always trying to figure out the best way that's going to get you into that flow state that's going to
Yeah.
allow you to get the most amount of productivity out of yourself?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't get into the nutrients or the stuff or like what am I eating, or I should probably be a lot more serious into that. I do know flow state, and I do know that like you know it when you see it.
You know it when you get
You
into
know
it
it when
too.
you get into it, where
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, like that
Yeah.
was crazy. Yeah, if there was a over-the-counter pill that just gave you flow state whenever you wanted,
Yeah, yeah.
I 100% would. I 100% would probably take that flow state pill. You know, be like,
Oh,
cool, it's
yeah.
working hours. Time for
Yeah.
my the morning flow state.
Isn't there a movie, Limitless, was about that? Remember that movie back in the day?
I,
I was doing some research last night about nootropics, and
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, but I was deep in some Reddit subtopic, and they were talking about Limitless, the movie where he took the pill and it allowed him to use the remaining portions of his brain.
Oh, okay.
And he was
Okay.
able to unlock all of these things about his business and personal life and all this stuff.
Oh,
But
crazy.
then there's a finite, like I think he only had, and I don't remember because it's so long since I've seen the movie, but I think he either had like a finite amount of time or a finite amount of the pills. And it was kind of the question of, well, what do you do when this is done, when this is over? Like,
Gotcha.
so
So worth to
anyway,
watch, man.
yeah.
I should watch that.
Are there any books, podcasts, people, or organizations that have been helpful in moving you forward?
Woo! Oh yeah, man. That's probably infinite. Podcasts. Podcast is a feed I'll listen to. I'll go like I'll switch. I'm always on podcasts, man. Like usually when I'm working out, I listen to a podcast. Although I know if I listen to music, I would work out harder and better. But whatever, I still listen to podcasts
Yeah.
because it's like one of those times. Um,
What are you listening to now?
I like this podcast called My First Million. I probably listened to tons of episodes of that. Podcast called Niche Pursuits. I've listened to a ton of episodes of that. Oh, hardcore. No. Should probably pull up my phone.
Any
Anyways,
books? Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah. To a book. Yeah. I mean, I've read tons of books.
Or even audiobooks.
There's one book that like is just weird. No one ever has it on a list, but I've read it like 3 or 4 times. Every couple of years I read it. It's called Dare to Succeed by Mark Burnett.
Interesting.
Never heard anyone mention it before. I think I literally found this book at like, I don't know. I have no idea where I got it. I think it may have been like a thrift store buy. Like if you're at the
Okay.
thrift store and you're like, oh, okay, like that's random. What was interesting about it to me is, so Mark Burnett's the founder of Survivor and Shark Tank. So that's who Mark Burnett is.
I know the name now.
Yeah,
You see it on the
Mark Burnett.
end credits. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. He's the executive producer. Dude, he wrote this book like 15 years ago or something. I'm not saying it's just like amazing book or whatever, but something that drew me to it when I read it the first time and then have gone back to read it. It's his story from his mouth, and you're like, oh, this is the creative dude behind these shows that put these deals together with TV production companies, pitched them, and like how he kind of made it.
I was going to say, because it's
cool
not coming up.
Dude, I don't
So,
even,
it must have been like something, Dare to Succeed. Yeah, there it is. Oh my gosh.
it's like from the 80s or like early 2000s, I think.
Okay,
Maybe
so
early
for those of you
2000s.
that are watching this on video,
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to find.
this is what he's talking about.
That is it, man. That is it. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
But
I can understand how that would be because that mindset,
yeah, it's
we're not taught really to succeed, are we, in the way that businesses are?
I don't know. And like I don't want to go. Yeah, I'm interested. I have this mixed opinion on like college and the right path forward for kids. I think there's a bunch of correct paths.
Right.
I think we've been corralling a lot of them towards university, and like
Shouldn't be.
maybe it's too many, right? Like maybe it's I feel like university should probably be the trade school for, engineering, attorneys, whatever. So like, I think there's a lot to change in like how to teach this stuff.
But I mean, just success. So I think what happens is that when you become a business owner and you start taking an interest in entrepreneur kind of things, that and especially if you are a student of it. So if you're reading books and listening to podcasts and going to organizations and taking an interest in it, that there are nuggets that you learn about success and what it takes and the grit that it takes in order to do this and how to approach life. Because I think a lot of times what we do is very much like science. We have a hypothesis and we come up with a way of testing that hypothesis, and we go to prove that whether that hypothesis is true or not, right? So I want to learn SEO. I think that there's money to be made there, so I'm going to go and learn everything that I can about it, and then I'm going to see kind of where this thing takes me. Just to borrow an example, right?
Right.
And so, but I don't know that. And I don't know that there's really anyone. You know what? Actually, that's BS. Because like as parents, I think we take a role in showing kids and mimicking,
Yeah.
the successes and how we deal with things in our life. The kids pick up on that. So
Kids definitely pick up on that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I think that's a big spot where you get that stuff. In the SEO realm, it's kind of interesting because everyone that I've connected with or interviewed or whatever, I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, you studied this in school, right? They're like, absolutely, absolutely
No.
not. Like this
there's
changing
there's no studying that in school.
not at all. All these people
For those
fell
of you
into
that
this
don't know what
industry.
SEO is, search engine optimization. It's the ability to take a website and make some changes, whether it's to the code of the website or to the content of the website. And nobody knows the algorithms for Google or
Sure.
YouTube or any of these other, even Amazon. Amazon's the number 2 search engine, if I
I don't
remember
know.
correctly.
It's up there.
Yeah. And so, gaming those systems in a way that allows you to rank higher so that you get more traffic, and therefore more traffic oftentimes equals more money, right?
Sure.
Whether it's advertising dollars or whatever. And so, but yeah, I just, there's no schooling for that.
Totally agree.
Right. Getting back on track. Where are we at? Gosh. What's the most important thing that you've learned about running a business?
Probably just be in it for the long haul, enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride. Like I find it really interesting how online you only see wins posted, you don't see L's posted. I just feel like for the most part, you don't see losses posted. I love it when people talk about like losses. I feel like in my bit like things that I've done for the last 15 years,
Mhm.
I feel like I guess I've had more wins than losses, but I would almost think like, man, maybe I've had more losses than wins, just like things that didn't work out or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily talk about them, but I just think like, well, here's a prime stage to talk about that. Like, man, it's just like a part of the journey. Like, I think enjoying the journey is the most thing that
Yeah.
that I've learned. Like, it's all part of the big game of life and business.
Yeah,
And
it's hard
entrepreneurship.
because success begets success, right? And so
Yep.
they always tell you like, hey, talk about the successes because it attracts people. They want to be part of something that's successful.
Yep.
And if you talk about like, oh man, like, shit's just rough right now, like, but I mean, there's a balance. Like I think, especially here in Mobile, I think we have a responsibility to the other business owners. And I've been vocal about, like last year was just a really shit year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think there's I think the community appreciates it when other members of that community are vocal about it because they don't feel like they can. But when somebody does, they're like, yes,
Like, yeah. Oh, me too.
me
Like, oh,
too.
thank goodness I'm not the only
Yeah,
one or whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
I'm totally with you, man. If the stats of small businesses, was it like 95% fail in the first year or 2
Year.
years or something? In
Yeah.
the first year, and then 5 years, it's like another majority
It's
fail.
like, yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean, it's not even 5
so
years. It's like every year. It's like,
it drops.
yeah,
So I'm like, you see those stats, but to really have people to not just see a stat, but really get it, like, and feel like, oh man, it's like it is hard to grow and operate a business and pivot and change, and like everything's not in your control, and like to figure out how to adjust and adapt, all part of the entrepreneurial journey, man.
yeah, for sure. All right. So here's some rapid fire questions, just like real quick 1-2 word responses if you can.
All right.
So favorite type of music? See, these are meant to throw you off.
All over, man. But like, man, if I'm working, like some lo-fi chill music.
Okay. What is your favorite type of food?
Delicious food.
That doesn't count.
Man, pizza, pasta, seafood.
Pizza? Okay, I'll go with pizza.
Yeah, pizza. First thing came to mind.
Solid.
I'll go with the first mental picture.
I mean, you can it's solid because you can have that for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. I mean, pizza's always good.
Oh, yeah.
And it stays pretty decent. Actually, quick aside, the new Piggly Wiggly has a brand of pizza. It's Detroit something or another. It's a pizza from Detroit. It's not deep dish, but it's a thicker crust pizza.
All right.
And by far the best frozen pizza I've had in the longest time.
Okay.
Definitely worth the trip to Piggly Wiggly.
We went to the new Piggly Wiggly just to walk around. Just to walk around. We were like, man, like we didn't even buy anything the night we went. We just went to walk. We were like, well, let's go check it out.
We went and shopped, and I was really impressed. And the thing that excites me is how they have pulled in other vendors from the city, and are helping to bring them along as well.
I noticed that. I thought it was cool. I saw some spice from Fairhope or something.
Well, Cammy's has a location there. Ice cream. You've got Three Georges in there. You've got Naaman's Catering with the hot meals and stuff like that. I just think they're doing a good job.
Agreed.
With that. Sorry, back to the rapid fire.
Okay. My mind, right.
Favorite restaurant in Lower Alabama?
In the LA. Man,
it's not coming to you.
That's tough. The first thing that came to my mind was Squid Ink, so I'll go.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good solid choice as well. Favorite city outside of Mobile?
Let's go Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I know. Throw a curveball at you.
Wow, okay, Ocean Springs.
Well, I was also thinking close, like outside of Mobile, close. You just meant in the world?
I just mean in general.
I don't know, Queenstown, New Zealand, I don't know.
I mean,
I like Ocean Springs. It's a hidden gem for us.
I have not spent that much time in Ocean Springs,
apparently,
which is why I'm laughing.
I heard your chuckle.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it's called the Lady May. It's a restaurant. I went, and after we went back like 3 times. Every time that's where we've gone, I get this burger, one of the best burgers I've ever had. It's they have a little downtown strip.
Yeah.
Very artsy, very like, it's like the Mississippian Fairhope. Yeah. I almost said Fairhope because we just got done with a little trip over there. I was like, but I was like, let me go Ocean Springs to put it on the map.
Staycations are fun. We did a staycation here in Mobile once, stayed at the Admiral right after they had done a renovation, had breakfast at Squid Ink. We went dancing, that night and listened to some music, had some drinks, didn't have to worry about, going home or anything like that. It's fun, like so
cool
Ocean Springs is the same thing. Biloxi would be considered the same. These are supposed to be rapid fire, but we're losing that
all right, I'll get you back on. Sorry.
City you want to travel to but have yet to visit? You're filtering too much.
I don't know, man. That's not helping rapid fire. Let's go Seattle, Washington.
Cool.
No, Vancouver. Changed it.
All right. Same thing.
Same area.
Just different country.
Exactly. Same area.
What comes to mind when I say guilty pleasure?
Chocolate.
Dogs, cats, or none of the above?
Dogs, man.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Favorite movie or TV show?
Top Gun.
Top Gun?
I don't know. Rapid fires. First image that came to mind. Is it actually my favorite? I would have said something weird, man. Like I used to have an answer like, see what was on my list. I'm like, man, like
Dead Poets Society.
Sandlot would be on there. Sandlot would be a movie like that. Back in the day, I used to say Sister Act 2. Like
nice.
Literally for about a 10-year stint, I would say that was one of my favorite movies. Like one of my favorite movies.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Favorite color?
Blue. I'm trying to, it's like Family Feud, baby. I'm like, let's go.
Favorite cereal?
Lucky Charms.
All right. I'm not going to judge you about the Lucky Charms. The marshmallows kind of throw me a little bit.
Oh, you got to eat those last.
Or you could be like...
you scoop around them and then you eat them at the end.
Chrissy's, and I won't... well, no, I mean, I think we've used her name before. Ella is Chrissy's daughter, and she likes to eat the marshmallows out of the cereal. So we'll find a box, and it's got nothing but the cereal in there sometimes.
She's only eating marshmallows out
marshmallows, of it? You can buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, I've heard. I think you can buy the milk, too. It's like marshmallow milk. Yeah, that's like... Because that's also delicious. The Lucky Charm milk at the end. You can buy milk.
I don't know about
You can buy milk that tastes like that. I've never had it. I've heard of it.
All right. So just to wrap up, what are you most thankful for? And this is not rapid fire. We're out of the
I was
rapid.
like,
Yeah, no rapid
what
fire.
am I thankful for?
Yeah.
Man, I'm thankful for the just opportunity, just the ability to try things. I think I take it for granted for sure all the time that we live in this like.
This is not normal.
This
is not something that other generations experienced.
Yeah.
This is new. This is completely outside of the realm of what generations before us have experienced.
100%. 100%. I think it's a cool time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to soak that up, and you know, so I'm thankful.
Not lose
for
track of it.
Yeah.
All right. Tell people where they can find you.
They could Google me if they want and just reach out however. And then the Mobile Rundown is our local brand. You can find us there. I'm a big part of that, so you know you may get me connected with that. But if you Google me, man, LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook Messenger, they're all the same to me, and I treat them all like a phone call.
Very cool. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. And I'm going to start over. That was horrible. I'm so out of practice. This is like the second podcast in like, what, a year? So, you know, anyway, I want to thank you again for coming on the podcast. To wrap up, any final thoughts or comments you'd like to share?
Thanks, man. Just thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
I
appreciate you making time for this too. So, well, Brooks, it's been good talking with you. I appreciate your willingness to sit with me and share your journey as a business owner and entrepreneur. Look forward to having lunch sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks.